All right, lads and lassies, all you dedicated Celtic supporters, the buzz around Celtic Central news is electric today, and we've got loads to unpack about the team as we edge closer to another week of football action. First off, a massive shout out to Ardu, all the new subscribers who've joined us recently. It's brilliant to see the community growing, and honestly, the energy from every one of you watching, liking, and commenting really makes this all worthwhile. Hail, hail. You can feel the anticipation building because tomorrow night we're back in action and it's no walk in the park. Celtic face a challenging trip to Motherwell, a side that's been surprisingly solid this season, especially at home. And if that wasn't enough, the weekend brings the Old Firm derby, a match that's always intense, fiery, and full of storylines. For Wilfried Nancy, these two fixtures represent a proper test. If he can guide the team to victories in both, it would surely cement his standing in the eyes of many skeptics. People would have to admit he's the right man to steer Celtic forward, and you'd hope the board gives him the backing he needs come January. But let's be honest, if the results don't go our way in one or both games, the doubters will be louder than ever. It's a classic high-stakes couple of matches that could define the narrative of Nancy's tenure so far. There's some nervousness in the air for sure. You might be feeling it yourself, that worry about whether the team can rise to the occasion, but equally there's excitement because a couple of strong performances could set the tone for the rest of the season. I've got a feeling that this squad might just surprise us over the next few matches, but we'll need better defensive displays than what we showed against Livingston last weekend. There's been plenty of chat about our approach and fair play. The concern is understandable. Playing such an open attacking style has its rewards, but it leaves gaps that teams like Motherwell could exploit if we're not careful. So I wanted to take a moment to delve into the numbers because while watching games gives you a sense of what's happening on the pitch, the stats paint a fuller picture. Looking back at league matches this season, we've had 3 different managers at the helm. Brendan Rodgers began the campaign with 9 league games. Martin O'Neill oversaw 5, and Wilfried Nancy has guided the team in 4 matches so far. It's fascinating to compare these periods side by side, starting with goals scored per game. Under Rodgers, we managed an average of 1.33 goals per match, a modest return. O'Neill increased that to 2.4 goals per match, and Nancy's current tally sits at around 2.25 goals per game, very similar to O'Neill, showing the attacking potential under Nancy has been maintained, if not slightly enhanced. On the flip side, goals conceded tell a different story. Under Rodgers, we let in 0.88 goals per match. Under O'Neill, just 0.2 goals per match, only conceding a single goal in those 5 fixtures. And under Nancy, the average has climbed to 1.75 goals per game. It's no secret that the main criticism of Nancy so far revolves around defensive openness. Many argue, and I don't entirely disagree, that allowing 2 or 3 goals in matches isn't sustainable over a long season because the attacking output has to consistently outweigh defensive lapses. But numbers like XG or expected goals provide an extra layer of insight. XG looks at the quality of chances created or conceded rather than just goals, giving a sense of whether a team is performing above or below expectation. Under Rodgers, our XG per game was 1.95. Under O'Neill, it rose to 2.26. And under Nancy, it's jumped to 3.39 per match. That shows we're crafting far more opportunities per game under Nancy's guidance, man, which is an encouraging. Defensively, XG against has only risen slightly from 0.83 under Rodgers and 0.85 under O'Neill to 0.95 under Nancy. In other words, while we're conceding more goals on paper, the team isn't necessarily allowing that many more clear-cut chances. Some of the goals conceded feel a bit unlucky or brilliant strikes by opposition players that could happen once in 10 times. For example, the second goal from Montano against Livingston was a magnificent finish that you wouldn't expect to see converted every time. So perhaps Nancy's defensive numbers are skewed slightly by variance rather than systemic flaws. Looking at the XG difference, which measures the dominance in creating versus conceding chances, Nancy's team is at plus 2.44, higher than Rodgers's plus 1.12 and O'Neill's plus 1.41. That reflects the attacking dominance we're enjoying, even if the goals on the scoreboard haven't always matched the underlying performance. This is the first real glimpse of Nancy's philosophy taking shape in Scotland. He's clearly pushing for a style that generates chances and puts the opposition under pressure, though it comes with an inherent risk. There's been some chatter that Nancy prefers chaos, similar to what we saw under previous managers who liked to push the ball forward quickly. But speaking after the Livingston match, Nancy emphasized control. He's looking for his team to know when to attack quickly and when to manage possession in the opponent's half, balancing tempo and freshness for consecutive fixtures. It's a nuanced approach, not simply frantic end-to-end play. Historical reports from his time in Montreal suggested he favored a methodical possession build-up, drawing opponents out before exploiting gaps. One player described it as forgetting instinctive habits, particularly for defenders used to rushing the ball forward, instead learning patience and timing in possession. That transition is ongoing in Glasgow, given Nancy inherited a squad largely unfamiliar with his system. It's early days, and these first few matches are as much about adaptation as they are about results. Mistakes like the 2 goals conceded to Livingston weren't necessarily systemic flaws, but individual errors and lapses in defensive awareness. Over time, as players become more accustomed to the system and new recruits arrive, we should expect better control and fewer defensive lapses. The attacking side is already promising, with chances and XG suggesting we could see more goals as familiarity grows. January brings the opportunity to reinforce the squad further, giving Nancy the tools to implement his vision more fully. Players like Josh Mulligan, a versatile Scottish midfielder who can cover right-back duties, are reportedly on the radar alongside others who meet homegrown criteria. Even if moves don't happen immediately, there's clear planning towards building a squad capable of executing Nancy's desired style. In the immediate term, however, all focus is on Motherwell and the Derby, 2 matches that will test the team's adaptation, resilience, and potential. Motherwell have been strong defensively, unbeaten in over 700 minutes prior to conceding against Rangers, which makes tomorrow's game a true test of Celtic's attacking ability. With the offensive form we've seen recently and Nancy's approach to possession and control, it promises to be a tactical battle as much as a physical contest. There's nervousness, yes, but also a sense that Celtic can rise to the challenge, creating chances, controlling play, and hopefully coming away with victories that build momentum going into the new year. Watching the team develop under Nancy is compelling, as we can see glimpses of a system taking hold, players adjusting to roles, and the overall philosophy beginning to translate into on-field performances. Mistakes will happen, but the underlying metrics suggest that with time, familiarity, and potential reinforcements, both the defensive and attacking aspects can stabilize. So as we look forward to Motherwell and the derby, the expectation is not just about results, but the evolution of the team under a manager who values control, patience, and methodical progression in games, combined with an attacking edge that can unsettle any defense in the Premiership. Moving on from the stats and tactical talk, let's look at what this means for the players and the squad as a whole. Wilfried Nancy's approach demands more from each individual on the pitch. It's not just about keeping the ball or pressing high. It's about understanding when to speed up the play, when to slow it down, and how to read the game in real time. For the likes of Kieran Tierney, it's a shift from instinctive wide play to something more calculated, which we saw in moments against Livingston, where his passes didn't quite land, leaving the defense exposed. It's easy to blame a single player when things go wrong, but that misses the bigger picture. The whole team is adapting to a new rhythm, and in high-pressure games, errors are going to happen. That said, the attacking unit has shown flashes of brilliance. The interplay between the midfield and forwards is already more dynamic, and the XG numbers tell us that chances are being created consistently. Players like Lil Abada and Kyogo Furuhashi are starting to find pockets of space more effectively, linking up with midfield runners and stretching opposition defenses. And Nancy's emphasis on control doesn't mean a slower game in a dull sense. It means being purposeful with the ball, moving with intent, and exploiting defensive weaknesses at the right moment. The system encourages attacking intelligence, asking players to make split-second decisions that balance risk and reward. Watching the recent games, it's clear that Celtic can dominate possession and create scoring opportunities even against teams that sit deep. The question is whether the defense can hold up under pressure. Motherwell, as mentioned, are not just strong at home. They've been methodical in shutting down attacks and capitalizing on mistakes. Their record of over 700 minutes without conceding speaks volumes about their discipline. So tomorrow night won't just be about who can score the first goal. It's about who can impose their style while respecting the threats the opponent poses. It will be a chess match as much as a football match. And Nancy's instructions in the dressing room will be crucial. Communication, awareness, and patience will all be tested, especially when playing away from home. And then there's the old firm derby, the pinnacle of the season for Scottish football fans. The intensity, the passion, the sheer unpredictability of these matches make them a true test for any manager. For Nancy, it's an opportunity to prove that his philosophy can survive and thrive under the most scrutinizing spotlight. The players will need to combine the attacking ambition we've seen recently with a sense of defensive solidity, learning from previous lapses where simple errors led to goals against weaker opposition. As the team gets used to the nuances of Nancy's system, those moments should reduce, but in the derby, nothing can be taken for granted. Beyond tactics and formations, there's also the psychological aspect. The squad must handle the pressure of expectation, media scrutiny, and the voices of doubters. Confidence will be key, and that comes from understanding the system and feeling supported by the manager. Nancy has emphasized patience, and that's not just for the fans, it's for the players themselves. Learning a new style, particularly one that involves balancing risk and control, takes time. Mistakes are part of the process, and early setbacks do not define the trajectory of the season. And looking at the broader picture, Nancy's arrival has coincided with a more adventurous style of football, The team is willing to commit players forward, stretch the pitch, and take calculated risks to create opportunities. That's an exciting prospect for supporters who want to see Celtic play with intent and flair rather than simply grinding out results. It also gives younger players a chance to express themselves within a structured system, which could pay dividends in the long run. Training sessions under Nancy focus on positional awareness, movement off the ball, and decision-making in high-pressure situations. The idea is to prepare the squad not just for one match, but for the sequence of challenges that define a season. With the winter fixtures approaching, consistency will be critical. Tomorrow's match against Motherwell offers a chance to test the team's preparation, adaptability, and ability to implement Nancy's vision under real pressure. It's one thing to train and talk about the principles, but executing them against a well-organized, defensively solid team away from home is a true benchmark. Equally, the derby will test whether the players can retain composure when stakes are at their highest. The physical and mental demands will be intense, and rotations may be necessary to keep the squad fresh. Nancy's task is to balance ambition with realism, ensuring the team can compete effectively without overcommitting and leaving themselves vulnerable at the back. Supporters can expect an entertaining style of football with chances created and scoring opportunities aplenty, but defensive improvements are essential to translate that into wins. Transfers may also play a part. Potential additions like Josh Mulligan or David Watson could provide the squad with players suited to Nancy's style, particularly in positions that require defensive discipline combined with the ability to contribute to attacks. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. Scottish football fans are buzzing with speculation after whispers began circulating that Andrew Robertson, the pride of Glasgow and talismanic Liverpool left-back, might be heading back north to play for Celtic. The very idea has sent tremors through both the Premiership and the wider footballing community, with supporters and pundits alike questioning what such a seismic transfer could mean for the landscape of Scottish football. Robertson, whose rise from humble beginnings in Queen's Park to Champions League glory with Liverpool is the stuff of legend, has long been regarded as one of the finest fullbacks in the world. His pace, relentless work ethic, and trademark marauding runs down the left flank have earned him not just plaudits in England, but admiration across Europe. And now, apparently, the Celtic Park faithful might have a chance to witness the full scope of his talents in the green and white hoops. Sources close to the situation suggest that preliminary talks have taken place, though details remain frustratingly scarce. Could this be a loan deal, a permanent move, or merely agents testing the waters for next season? All we know is that the idea of Robertson returning to Scottish soil is already causing heated debate on social media, with rival fans expressing disbelief, while Celtic supporters dream of the potential impact on their domestic dominance and European campaigns. While some critics argue that Robertson has found a home in the Premier League and has no reason to leave, insiders hint that the pull of Scotland, combined with the opportunity to play for one of the nation's most storied clubs, might be irresistible. A reunion with familiar surroundings, coupled with the chance to influence games at the heart of Scottish football, could be the kind of challenge that even a world-class player would find tempting. Whatever the truth, the very notion of Andrew Robertson donning Celtic colours is enough to set imaginations alight. Should the deal materialise, it would represent one of the most astonishing signings in recent Scottish football history, reshaping expectations and sparking endless debate in pubs, lounges, and online forums across the country. For now, though, all we can do is watch, wait, and speculate as one of Scotland's brightest stars hovers tantalisingly on the brink of a potential homecoming. Hello, fan! Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.